Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I thought I would sit down and film my second Get Ready With Me of the month. I thought I would do a little bit more of like a neutral look because my last look was very purple. If you guys missed that video, I will link it in the description box below. But I wanted to use the Anastasia Sultry palette because it has been one of my go-to palettes for the past few months. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what type of look you want to see in my next Get Ready With Me, whether it's like a green look, like a 10-minute makeup look, something really dark and smoky. So I'll film whatever you want to see, just let me know. But let's jump into it and I'll start applying the makeup. So I'm going to start off with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. I'm going to use a lot of like my staple go-to products in today's video rather than incorporating so many new ones. I do have a couple of new products, but for the most part, I'll be using products that I use all the time and I always talk about on my channel. I really try to work this product into my skin. Obviously, you don't want to be too rough, but I do work it in like I would a moisturizer because I really want my makeup to go on top really beautifully. And I just find when I work this into the skin, everything goes on really nicely. I'm going to go in with foundation to cover up the redness. Now, a lot of people ask me, why don't I let my freckles show through, that kind of thing, whenever I film a Get Ready With Me. I don't have anything against freckles. I just have really red skin. Like, as you can tell, my neck is not red. It's very, very pale. It's very yellow toned. So I try to make sure that my face matches my neck because in general, that's kind of the goal when it comes to foundation. So whenever I even out my skin tone and just kind of try to even out that redness, inevitably it covers up freckles. I have not been able to find a light coverage matte foundation that stays in place really well on my oily skin. So if you have any recommendations, I mean, I would definitely love to check them out. But in general, I just prefer more of like a medium to full coverage foundation. So I've been using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Foundation in 150, which the shade is a little bit off for me, but I've been mixing it with the Smashbox Studio Skin 15-Hour Wear in the shade 1.05. These two foundations are very different. The Fenty foundation is a little bit more of like a matte foundation, and the Smashbox foundation is a little bit more hydrating, and it's not as full coverage. So I just find that they balance each other out really well, especially because the Fenty foundation is a little bit too neutral for me, and I just love these two together. I will put all of the brushes that I'm using as well as the products that I'm using in the description box below. I feel like my setup in this video is a little bit weird because I switched chairs, so it's actually like a little bit higher, but then I have to like lean down into the mirror to see what I'm doing, and then I couldn't figure out the angle with the camera, so I was like, whatever, let's just sit down and film. It's just a casual video. As long as you can see how the makeup applies, then I'll be good to go. So I did talk about the Smashbox Studio Skin Hydrating Foundation in my January favorites. I don't know why, but a couple people asked me if it was sponsored. I guess a few other people were mentioning it in their January favorites as well. It definitely wasn't a sponsored video. I guess there are undisclosed sponsorships out there. I know there are, but I think because of that, a lot of people are just always looking for them on YouTube. I don't do undisclosed sponsorships. And if you're new to my channel, like maybe you don't know that. You can't automatically trust everyone. Like you have to watch their videos for a while and, you know, try their recommendations to see if they are trustworthy. So I guess I don't blame people for asking if they think it's sponsored. I just don't do undisclosed sponsorships. First of all, it's illegal. You have to disclose a sponsorship. I've never worked with a company who has actually like asked me to hide a sponsorship. And the truth is, like, I've read a couple of articles about this. A lot of times it happens with fashion companies a lot. They'll do a campaign with like 20 influencers. And if the influencers don't disclose it, a lot of times it's not the influencers that get in trouble. It's the company that actually gets fined. So anytime I've worked with a company, they've always asked me to not only disclose the video is sponsored verbally in the beginning, but also at the top of the description box, which is what I do anyways. Like even if a company doesn't require that, I always do that. I think it's obviously important to be transparent because like I said, it's illegal and there's nothing to hide. I mean, if you are working with a company that you love and promoting a product that you really believe in, then there's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm always excited when I get to partner with companies that I love. So I have no problem disclosing it right in the beginning, and I understand not everybody wants to watch a sponsored video, and I totally get it. Everybody is entitled to their own opinions and just their own preferences when it comes to YouTube, and if you hate sponsored videos, that's totally fine. That's part of the reason why I mention it right in the beginning, even if I don't talk about the sponsored product for a few minutes, because that way you can decide right there on the spot if you want to watch it or if you want to click out. And if you want to click out, I mean, again, I totally get it. Anyways, that video was not sponsored. I just really like the Smashbox Smashbox Studio Skin Hydrating Foundation. I think it's such a good option. And as you can see, like these two combined together, they look so much better in my opinion than just like the Fenty foundation alone. I think the Fenty foundation alone is great if you have insanely oily skin, or, you know, if it's summertime and you need more of a mattifying foundation. But I just like how the Smashbox foundation combined with the Fenty foundation creates a little bit more of like a natural look on the skin in terms of the finish. So I'm actually going to go in with the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer again. I'm wearing the shade Light Sand. I did feature this in my last Get Ready With Me video, and I've been using it since then, which was like over 2 weeks ago, and I really like this concealer. The only thing, like the only con, is that it is so messy. I try to be so careful, but like the wand is a complete mess. Every single time I like put the wand back in, a bunch of concealer comes out, and the packaging is just a little bit messy, which isn't the end of the world, honestly, but it's just not, it's a con for me for sure. On the topic of sponsorships, I do want to say thank you to you guys who are always so kind and supportive when I do a sponsored video. Honestly, I try not to do them very often because even though I don't have an issue with doing them, because I always partner with companies that I love, and I know everybody says this, every single person says this, but I am selective about my sponsorships. I really prefer to do reoccurring sponsorships. So a lot of times you'll see me partner with the same company over and over. So for example, Ebates, ShopTagger, FabFitFun, like those are the 3 companies that I do sponsorships with the most. The reason is because I love all 3 of those companies, and whether or not they worked with me on a sponsored video, I'd talk about them. I do talk about them on my channel even when I'm not sponsored by them and before I was sponsored by them. So the fact that I get to work with them, you know, more than once, we kind of have like an ongoing relationship, is amazing, because not only is it something that I already use, but it's something that I think everybody who watches my videos can benefit from. Sponsorships, I feel like, are such like a taboo subject. Like a lot of people don't talk about them and you just kind of keep everything secret, but I just don't think there's anything to be ashamed of when it comes to a sponsored video if you're partnering with a company that you love and you believe in and something that you actually use regularly. For me, I use ShopTagger, I use Ebates, but I don't use something like Poshmark. They've reached out to me before. It's just not something that I personally use. So even though I could see how it would be beneficial for like my audience to hear about Poshmark, and I'm sure I could kind of incorporate it in some way, it's not something I use. So it wouldn't really be genuine if I was talking about it on my channel. So I hope you guys do know, at least if you're like a regular viewer, that I really do only partner with companies that I love, that fit in really seamlessly, that I think would be beneficial for you guys as well. I mean, even companies I love, like Flower Beauty, reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do a video with them trying some of their new products, but they're not products that I would have purchased myself. They're just not something that I would be interested in. I don't think people realize when you have a YouTube channel, you have to be selective. And so many of us really, really are. So, you know, I'm not saying all of this to be like, oh, look at me, I have so many sponsorship opportunities. Like, it's not like that, because I'm sure these companies are reaching out to everyone. Like I've gotten emails where they haven't like blind copied the recipients and there are like 100 names attached to it. So, you know, I'm definitely not saying I'm anything special. Anyways, I feel like that was a long tangent and I don't know exactly where I was going with that. I think in the end, I was just trying to say thank you to you guys who always are so supportive when I do get to work with a company that I love. And I value you guys. I care about you. I would never want you to spend your money on something that I promoted for like a quick check. You know, and to be fair, I don't think a lot of influencers do that. I'm sure there are people out there who are just looking to make like a quick check, but I don't think, you know, I think a lot of us are here because we love makeup, we love chatting with you guys, we love the community, and we're not necessarily just looking for every single sponsorship that we can grab. I don't know, there's almost like this weird mentality that everybody on YouTube is like out to just make like a ton of money and just feature all these products, and it's just not like that. Like YouTube is a ton of work, and if that was the case, like a lot of us just wouldn't be around just uploading random videos. We'd try to like find a way to make money from like every single video in terms of sponsorships and cash grabs, because they're definitely out there. All of that to say, thank you to you guys for supporting my channel when I do get to partner with companies that I love, and you know, I appreciate that you guys trust me, and I just appreciate your support overall. I was not planning on talking about sponsorships for this entire video, so let's move on. I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Sultry eyeshadow palette. This has been my go-to palette. I'm going to start with the shade Fresh and use that to set my eyeshadow primer into place. But you guys, I love this palette, and for a long time, I didn't think I was going to buy it. I am pretty much over like super intensely warm eyeshadows. They just don't look as good on my skin tone. I think cooler tones in general tend to look better, whether it comes to like bright colorful shades or staple neutrals. I'm going to go in with the shade Twig, which is like my go-to transition shade, and just kind of blend that into the crease and right above the crease. I'm doing a pretty simple look, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time blending, but one of the reasons why this is also one of my favorite palettes is because the Anastasia formula, it's just been a staple. The shadows are so blendable, and I love it. I feel like I'm late to the game in terms of like loving this formula, but I think since using like these 3 most recent palettes, I've just fallen in love with the formula. It's so blendable. Like it just took me that long to blend out that shadow. So sometimes I stop there and then I go in with the shade Pearl and place it all over the lid, and that's like a quick 2 eyeshadow look, and then I'll just line my eyes with like the dark brown shadow. But for today's video, this is like another look that I've been doing on days when I want something slightly more dramatic. I'll just take the dark brown, which is called Dystopian, on a brush and just kind of blend it into the outer corner. I just focus this in the outer corner and then take it into the crease. A lot of you guys have been asking for my eyeshadow palette declutter. It is coming, I promise. It really, really is. But I kind of felt like my declutter videos were getting some negative feedback, so I just took a slight pause on them. I am going to finish decluttering my collection, and I will film it because I think a lot of people do like declutter videos. I like declutter videos. And because I have to go through and declutter my collection, I might as well film it for those of you that are interested in watching. But for me, I really have tried to like switch up my buying habits for 2019. I haven't purchased a ton of makeup. I've been a lot more aware. So I think when people see those videos, especially if they're new to my channel, sometimes they get the wrong idea and they think I'm like a makeup hoarder, which isn't the case. It's so weird, but I guess you wouldn't know this because this is a beauty channel, but I'm so minimalistic with every area of my entire life except when it comes to makeup. And I think if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I'd probably be pretty minimalistic with my makeup collection as well. We don't have a lot of possessions. I don't have a lot of furniture. I actually don't even have like tons and tons of clothes. My closet, my husband and I share a closet. There's like so much space between my clothes and his clothes, and I think I have less clothes than him. But honestly, my house is pretty small, so I just have to keep things a little bit more minimal. Otherwise, like one extra piece of furniture makes the whole house feel so crowded and cluttered, and I just get really, really stressed when there's like so much stuff around. I'm going to go in with the shade Pearl and place that all over the lid. I'm just using my finger. I love this shade. It's so reflective and so, so beautiful. A lot of times I just use it all over the lid, but I also like using it as an inner corner highlight as well. Okay, so the only downside in using your finger is that sometimes it gets a little bit messy, so then I just take the brushes I was using and just kind of blend everything back out really quickly. So a lot of times when I use the Sultry palette, I'll just take the black eyeshadow and use that to line my upper lash line. But I do want to test out the new ColourPop liners. They did send these to me in PR, just so you guys know. But let me swatch a couple. I'll swatch the colors that I was planning on buying. So here is the black one. It goes on nicely. These are felt tip liners. And then here is the blue one. The black one is called Numero Uno. The blue one is called Crazy. I'm glad that it's like a darker blue. I was really hoping for like a dark, deep green because I think the green is a little bit brighter, and like a dark purple. I think that would be so beautiful. So hopefully they will do more. And then here is the green one. Oh, this is a pretty color. It's a little bit darker than I thought. It's in the shade The Hills. I can't wait to wear this one. I would do it today, but I just want to do like a pretty neutral look, and I figured the black one would be a good one to start with. Okay, that was a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I don't think my winged liner is perfectly even. This one's a little bit thicker, but whatever. I usually use a brush tip liner, and I guess I didn't realize that it's been so long since I've used felt tip liners. Brush tip liners just glide on so easily, so smoothly. When you do winged liner, it's just so quick and easy. Felt tip liners, I feel like you have to kind of drag across the eye a little bit more, and it went on nicely. Like, it's dark, it's dramatic, it's black, it looks matte, but when I did have the swatches on my hand and they dried, it almost looked a little bit shiny. On the eyes, it looks perfectly matte though. Yeah, like on the hand, it looks shiny. It doesn't like smudge if I rub my hand across it, and rubbing pretty hard too. So that's promising, but if I take like a makeup remover wipe, I don't have to rub very hard for it to come off. So they don't market these as waterproof liners, they just say they're smudge proof. If you guys like felt tip liners, I don't think you'll have an issue with how this went on. I think I'm just so used to brush tip liners that they don't go on as smoothly, but I am excited that there are colorful shades. I will use them in an upcoming video or just kind of give you guys an update once I do get a chance to play around with them even more. I'm just going to take a pencil brush and take a small amount of twig and blend that on the lower lash line. Then I'm going to take my Charlotte Tilbury Rock & Kohl Iconic Liquid Eye Pencil in the shade I Cheat and just use this to line my waterline because this just kind of opens up the eyes and it makes them look really awake. And this is my favorite nude waterline pencil of all time. Let me apply mascara and then I'll come back and do my brows. I'm just going to use the Essence Lash Princess as like a base mascara and then go in with the IT Cosmetics Superhero on top. Okay, so to save time, I also did my brows. I used the Anastasia Brow Wiz in the shade Dark Brown. I'm completely out of my LA Girl pencils. I need to repurchase them, but for now I do have like 1 or 2 of these pencils, which I do love. I just wish they weren't so expensive. And then I went in with the ColourPop Brow Boss Gel in the shade Dark Brown. I do have an entire video on how I do my brows, but honestly, it's nothing too crazy, but I'll link that below if you are interested. So for bronzer, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer. I have the shade Forever Sunkissed. I actually used up my entire Take Home the Bronze by the Balm. I am so sad. I said that I wasn't going to repurchase any additional bronzers until I finished up my Becca Sunlit Bronzer, but I might have to go back on that because the Becca bronzer is very warm. I typically prefer a little bit of like a slightly cooler or even neutral bronzer, and I do love that Becca bronzer, but it's just a little bit too warm for like, just for me right now, I guess. Maybe once I have a little bit more of a tan, it will be like my go-to. This one is a nice option and it's only like $5 or $6. I think it's very, very similar to the Urban Decay Beached Bronzers, which I think were like a re-promote for summer last year. And I do like this one. So I'm going to keep using this one, see if I can, you know, get a lot of use out of this before, oh, I just applied too much, before I replace my bronzer from the Balm. That's been like my main goal this year. I just want to try to use what I have before automatically running out and repurchasing. Okay, I think it looks good. It was looking a little bit warmer on the skin than it did in the pan, but I think once I just went in with like a fluffy brush and like blended it, it looks good. So I did get some blushes in the mail from Buxom, which I also wanted to try. These are primer infused blushes. So let me open a couple of them up. I'll swatch a couple of them for you. This one is in the shade Seychelles. This one is a really pretty nude. They feel really smooth and they do seem like you can build them up. They have a very slight sheen to them. I think they're going to be so pretty on the skin. So I might wear that one. This one is in the shade Havana. Don't mind my nails. I'm trying to grow them out so I can actually get them done because I am a nail biter, but it's been a few weeks since I've actually bit them. So I am proud of myself. This is a really, really beautiful pink. This one also has like a very, very subtle sheen. This one is Dolly. This is a really pretty color. You guys know that Dolly is one of my favorite lip glosses. Oh, it's a little bit more red tone, so it's a little bit more of like a rosy mauve. So here's what these three look like. I think I'm just going to go for Seychelles. We'll play it safe today. Actually, let's not play it safe. I'll go for the shade Dolly, which might be a little too dark, but we'll just go in with a small amount and see how it applies. I'm going to take a little bit more of a fluffy brush. It does blend out really nicely though. I think these are going to be nice because they're going to work for a lot of skin tones. Like I went in with such a small amount, but like I think if you were to really like put your brush in there and then apply it, you could get a pretty pigmented appearance. And then you can even build it up to be a little bit deeper, a little bit more pigmented. So if you have a darker skin tone, I definitely think this would work for you. I'll probably get more use out of the lighter shades, but I just thought I would kind of do something a little different and go for a slightly darker shade. I think these are really nice. That applied really beautifully to the skin, and I like how it looks matte, but it gives you, again, like a very natural sheen. It's definitely not anything shimmery or, you know, super intense, but it just looks a little bit more natural on the skin. So I like that so far. I'll keep you guys updated. So Catrice did come out with 3D Glow highlighters. There are 3 different shades. I'm going to use this pink one today. This one is in the shade Pinch of Rose. It's super, super shimmery. I love a good shimmery blush. Oh, wow. Maybe I won't use that as a blush. That is way more like shimmery than I thought it was going to be. I'll use the shade Icy Glaze as my highlight today. It's really pretty. It's definitely very, very glowy on the skin. It has like an interesting texture to it. Like it's a powder, but it feels a little bit creamy. Okay, if you are into intense highlighters, I think you could probably build these up to be pretty intense. This one is in the shade Icy Glaze, which is like a true white and silver. Really, really beautiful. The pink one is in the shade Pinch of Rose, which is what I was originally going to use as a blush, but I think it even might be a little bit too shimmery for me. I don't know. It could be really, really beautiful, but I think it would make a gorgeous highlight as well. And the last one is in the shade Warm Embrace. The texture is so interesting. I think because it is more of like a creamy powder, it just really melts into the skin so, so nicely. I think it's going to be really, really beautiful on dark skin tones. So here is the shade Warm Embrace, Icy Glaze, and then Pinch of Rose. I forgot to highlight my brow bone and my inner corner. So for the brow bone, I'm going to use the shade Fresh, and for the inner corner, I will use Pearl. So that is pretty much it for me. I just need to apply my lip color and then we are done. I'm just going to use this Bare Minerals lip gloss, which does not have a name because I think one of my dogs got a hold of this a while ago. It's just like a pretty cool toned mauve. I think I was going to declutter this, but I wanted to give it one more shot in my everyday makeup drawer, and I like it. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I will come back in a few weeks and give you a final update or like a final review on the new products that I tested out in today's video and my last Get Ready With Me, just because I like to come back and update you and let you know if my first impressions changed or if they remain the same. And then sometimes I have like additional insight into how to use the products and if I think they're worth the money. So stay tuned for that video, but I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.